What if a single woman turned the tides of history, compelling the mightiest empire to tremble? Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, wielded influence unmatched by any other. Her cunning, beauty, and intellect forged alliances that would forever alter the course of Rome. But beneath this allure lies a mystery yet to be uncovered. Born in 69 BC, Cleopatra VII was the daughter of Ptolemy XII. Raised in the lavish court of Alexandria, she received an education that would prepare her for a life steeped in politics and intrigue. It was here that her story began, amidst the grandeur of the great libraries and bustling markets. Cleopatra's early reign was marked by a critical alliance with Julius Caesar, a man whose ambitions mirrored her own. In 48 BC, their paths intertwined, igniting a political fire that would envelop the Mediterranean. As Cleopatra presented herself to Caesar, she did so wrapped in a carpet, stunning the dictator with her beauty and wit. This audacious act would help solidify her position and ultimately lead to the birth of their son, Caesarion. Her union with Caesar was both a personal and political triumph. Together, they sought to strengthen Egypt while challenging Rome's power. But the winds of fortune can shift quickly, and tragedy loomed on the horizon. The assassination of Caesar in 44 BC sent shockwaves throughout the empire. Cleopatra, left vulnerable, had to navigate a new world fraught with danger. It was a time of uncertainty, yet she was determined to protect her reign and her child. In the midst of chaos, Mark Antony emerged, a powerful ally who sought Cleopatra's favor. Their passionate affair was driven not only by love, but by a shared vision of power and dominance. Antony's alliance with Cleopatra challenged Rome's authority, igniting tensions that would lead to war. The couple became a symbol of defiance against the Roman establishment, but their enemies were relentless. As struggles mounted, Cleopatra demonstrated her strategic brilliance. She employed espionage and cunning to outmaneuver her opponents, turning her court into a hub of intrigue. But the tide began to turn against her. The naval battle of Actium became a pivotal moment, as Antony's forces faced Octavian's superior fleet. The roar of battle echoed across the waves, forever changing their fates. Ultimately, defeat loomed over Cleopatra. Fleeing back to Egypt, she knew that the end was near. Betrayed by fate, she prepared for the final chapter of her life, a queen facing insurmountable odds. In the face of despair, Cleopatra's resolve remained unbroken. She sought to secure her legacy, to be remembered not as a pawn, but as a ruler who challenged the might of Rome. Her tragic end came soon after. In 30 BC, with Antony's death, the walls of her palace closed in. Cleopatra chose to leave this world on her own terms, a queen defiant to the last. The world thought it had seen the last of her, but Cleopatra's legacy lived on. Her story, one of passion and politics, inspired generations, a testament to her power and resilience. In understanding Cleopatra, we uncover the complexities of ambition, love, and the pursuit of power. She was not merely a queen, but a formidable force that commanded respect, even fear. As her story echoes through time, we are invited to reflect upon the nature of legacy. As Cleopatra continued to navigate the treacherous waters of power, she recognized that Rome's ambitions could be both an opportunity and a threat. Her intelligence and charm were tools she wielded adeptly, knowing that the fate of her kingdom lay in balancing these forces. Her relationship with Julius Caesar marked the beginning of an era filled with political maneuvering and fierce rivalry. When Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria, it was a moment that would redefine history. In a dramatic display, Cleopatra famously had herself smuggled into his presence, wrapped in a rug. This bold move showcased not only her audacity, but her willingness to risk everything for the future of her reign. Their rendezvous kindled a powerful alliance, one that would send ripples through the Roman world. Cleopatra's ability to speak multiple languages and her knowledge of Roman customs earned her Caesar's respect and admiration. Together, they aimed to solidify Egypt's position as a pivotal player in the Mediterranean. With the birth of their son Caesarion, Cleopatra had a tangible claim to power. The delightful child became a symbol of hope for her dynasty and a potential heir to both Egypt and Rome. Yet, this union also sowed seeds of envy among Roman leaders, prompting conspiracies that would threaten everything she had built. Her bond with Caesar, however, was cut short by his assassination in 44 BC. The news fluttered through Alexandria like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over Cleopatra's ambitions. Yet, rather than despair, she resolved to forge a new path, aligning herself with Mark Antony, one of Rome's most powerful generals. With Mark Antony at her side, Cleopatra sought to reclaim her influence over Rome. Their union was not just romantic, it was a strategic alliance that posed a formidable challenge to Octavian's burgeoning power. Together, they planned to expand Egypt's dominance, igniting a conflict that would reshape the ancient world. As they marched towards glory, Cleopatra's remarkable leadership skills shone through. She revitalized Egypt's economy, invested in her army, and poured resources into the arts and sciences. This renaissance drew admiration and jealousy alike, and whispers of her beauty turned into tales of her intellect and cunning. Yet, their ambitions would soon collide with Rome's inexorable march towards consolidation. Mark Antony's growing power alarmed Octavian, leading to a bitter rivalry that escalated into a full-blown war. The Battle of Actium emerged as the ultimate showdown, a clash of titans that would determine the fate of kingdoms. The air crackled with tension as Cleopatra and Antony faced their destiny. On the shores of Actium, their forces clashed with Octavian's fleet in a brutal confrontation. Yet, as the battle raged, betrayal loomed, and strategic missteps would prove to be their undoing. Despite their initial advantages, Cleopatra and Antony suffered a devastating defeat. The loss reverberated through the ancient world, marking a turning point that would shift the balance of power. Cleopatra realized that her dream of a united front with Antony was slipping through her fingers. Retreating to Alexandria, Cleopatra's kingdom stood at the brink. The city, once filled with life and ambition, now felt the weight of impending doom. Rome's grip was tightening, and whispers of betrayal and treachery filled the air, casting an ominous shadow over her remaining plans. With Octavian's forces advancing, Cleopatra sought to protect her legacy. She turned to the political tactics she had mastered, attempting to negotiate and secure a safe passage for herself and her children. Yet Octavian was not easily swayed. He did not intend to let her escape this time. In the face of such adversity, Cleopatra's resolve hardened. Rather than submit, she devised a final act that would secure her place in history. She sought to leave a mark on the world that would transcend her reign, one that would be spoken of for centuries to come. The day of reckoning arrived when Octavian finally laid siege to Alexandria. The city braced for impact as Cleopatra prepared for her last stand. In her heart, she knew that this battle was not just for survival, but for the legacy of an empire that had flourished through her leadership. As the Roman forces breached the walls, Cleopatra made the fateful decision to end her story on her own terms. In a final act of defiance, she chose to embrace her fate rather than be paraded as a captive through Rome. The Queen of Egypt prepared her exit, one that would echo through history. On that fateful day, Cleopatra took the venomous bite of an asp, a choice steeped in symbolism and power. Her death was a statement, an assertion that she would not be subdued by her enemies. As the poison coursed through her veins, she lay in regal splendor, embodying the very essence of a queen. Her tragic end became a powerful narrative, captivating poets and playwrights throughout the ages. Cleopatra's story transcended her life, morphing into a tapestry woven with threads of passion, betrayal, and defiance. She was a queen who turned her demise into an immortal legacy. In the wake of her passing, the realms of power shifted. Octavian emerged as the uncontested ruler of Rome, marking the end of the Hellenistic era. Cleopatra's death symbolized not just the fall of a queen, but the collapse of a vibrant culture that had thrived for centuries. Yet, Cleopatra's impact endured far beyond her earthly existence. Her story would be immortalized in literature, art, and film. Each retelling breathed new life into her legacy, ensuring that the world would not forget the queen who made Rome fear her. As generations passed, Cleopatra became a symbol of feminine power and resilience. She transcended her time, inspiring countless women to embrace their strength and ambition in a world often dominated by men. Her life serves as a reminder that true power lies not just in birthright, but in the audacity to challenge the status quo. Today, we continue to explore her legacy, dissecting the complexities of her relationships and the decisions that shaped her destiny. In a world where power dynamics are constantly evolving, Cleopatra's story remains pertinent, a guiding narrative in the quest for influence and legacy. Cleopatra's life resonates with those who seek to understand the intricate dance of politics and passion. Her ability to wield both love and strategy was remarkable, and her journey invites us to reflect upon our pursuits and the legacies we leave behind. But what secrets from her life remain hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Historians continue to unearth artifacts that challenge existing narratives about her reign. Unearthing her burial site could unveil further truths about her political maneuvers and personal life. What mysteries might these discoveries reveal about the queen who captivated the world? As we delve deeper into her world, we encounter accounts that challenge the perception of Cleopatra as merely a seductress. The complexities of her character paint a portrait of a ruler shaped by her time, her relationships, and the relentless pursuit of power in an era fraught with danger. In the end, Cleopatra's life story serves as a prism through which we can examine our own ambitions. Her journey speaks to the human experience, encouraging us to confront our fears and aspirations. In a world that still often silences women, her voice endures, echoing across the ages. Upon returning to Egypt, Cleopatra fortified her power, transforming her court into a vibrant center of culture and intrigue. Artists, poets, and philosophers flocked to Alexandria, drawn by her charisma and intellect, creating an era of unmatched artistic achievement. It was here that the seeds of rivalry with Rome continued to grow. As Rome's power expanded, so did Cleopatra's ambitions. She understood that aligning with Rome was vital for her own reign's survival. With her charm and intelligence, she captured the hearts of Rome's most formidable leaders, forging alliances that would shake the foundations of the empire. Her alliance with Julius Caesar was not just a romantic entanglement, it was a calculated move. Cleopatra bore him a son, Ptolemy Caesar, hoping to solidify her position and present a legacy intertwined with Rome's future. Yet, this connection came at a great cost. With Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, Cleopatra found herself at a crossroads. The political landscape shifted dramatically, and she needed to act swiftly to protect her reign. The once warm relationship with Rome now felt precarious, as power struggles ensued. In the wake of Caesar's death, Cleopatra sought out Mark Antony, another prominent Roman leader. Their connection was electric, but it was also filled with ambition and tension. Together, they formed a partnership that would change the course of history yet again. Cleopatra and Antony's bond was both passionate and strategic. They supported each other's ambitions, yet the consequences of their alliance rippled through Rome, igniting jealousy and fear among their enemies. The stakes were higher than ever, as they prepared for a confrontation that would define their legacies. As the tension escalated, so did the propaganda against Cleopatra. Rome's narrative painted her as a seductress, using her allure to manipulate powerful men. This portrayal fueled her enemies and swayed public opinion against her, casting a shadow over her accomplishments. But Cleopatra was undeterred. She continued to wield her influence with grace and cunning, leveraging her position to gather allies and resources. Her reign became a fortress of resilience, amid the encroaching storm of war. The Battle of Actium loomed, a defining moment that would determine the fate of Cleopatra and Antony. The naval conflict would test their strategies and love as forces clashed on the waters of Greece, symbolizing the struggle between East and West. As the battle commenced, Cleopatra's fleet took to the sea, her heart racing with both hope and fear. The winds of fortune shifted rapidly, and with each cannon blast, the future of her kingdom hung in the balance. Despite their daring tactics, the outcome of the battle was disastrous. Antony's forces faltered, and as defeat loomed, the reality of their situation set in. Rome was not only a rival, but now a looming conqueror. In the aftermath, Cleopatra faced the consequences of their failure. She had to make a fateful choice to fight on or to retreat into the shadows of history. The stakes were higher than ever. Cleopatra and Antony fled back to Egypt, their dreams of conquest dashed. Together they plotted their next move, aware that their enemies in Rome were now plotting against them. Desperation began to seep into their plans, but so did their determination. In a twist of fate, Octavian was consolidating power back in Rome. His name echoed across the empire, a reminder of the shifting tides. The whispers of his victory reached Cleopatra, igniting a mix of fear and resolve within her. Embroiled in a desperate game of survival, Cleopatra sought to galvanize her people. She reminded them of her heritage, of the glory of Egypt and the rich history they fought to preserve. Her voice was unwavering amid the chaos. However, the walls of her sanctuary in Alexandria began to feel like a cage. Cleopatra understood the weight of her legacy. With each passing day, the reality of her choices gripped her heart, and the echo of Rome grew louder. As Octavian's forces closed in, Cleopatra faced the ultimate dilemma. Would she surrender to her fate or fight to the bitter end? Sold into a narrative of seduction and betrayal, she prepared to defend her legacy at all costs. The final confrontation loomed on the horizon, the inevitability of fate drawing near. Cleopatra, the queen who had made Rome fear her, now faced the possibility of her empire crumbling. Yet her spirit remained indomitable. As the Roman legions arrived, Cleopatra's heart was heavy with the weight of her choices. Each moment felt like a lifetime, as she prepared to defend her throne and her very identity against an unstoppable force. In the chaotic final moments, Cleopatra remained steadfast. The desert and the Nile held her secrets, and she vowed to be remembered not only as a ruler, but as a fierce fighter who shaped her destiny amid the turmoil of empires. Her story, steeped in ambition, love, and tragedy, teaches us that the pursuit of power is fraught with peril. Cleopatra's legacy reminds us that history often remembers heroes and villains in shades of gray, echoing through the corridors of time. As we reflect on her extraordinary life, let us celebrate the woman who dared to defy an empire and make history. Cleopatra's voice, though silenced, still resonates, inspiring generations to confront their ambitions and dreams. As the winds changed in the kingdom, Cleopatra faced a new reality. With the loss of her beloved Mark Antony, the weight of defeat settled heavy on her shoulders. Yet, she was determined not to be merely a footnote in history. Her resolve to safeguard her legacy was stronger than ever. In the quiet of her chamber, she began to weave her final plans. Cleopatra understood that the fall of her beloved Alexandria was not just a loss of territory, but a loss of identity. She envisioned a future where her legacy would live on, regardless of her fate. With the Roman legions advancing, the echoes of battle drums filled the air. Cleopatra rallied her supporters, calling upon their loyalty to defend their rich cultural heritage. The streets of Alexandria buzzed with a sense of impending storm and fierce determination. Amidst the chaos, Cleopatra sought solace in her children. She knew their futures were now intertwined with her choices. Her desire to protect them fueled her passion as the tides of war approached, and her heart ached with the weight of her decisions. But tragedy struck when the Roman forces laid siege to the city. The laughter of children faded as the city's defenses crumbled. Cleopatra's heart raced with fear and anger, yet she knew she had to remain composed for her people's sake. In the final moments, with the palace gates breached, Cleopatra made a fateful decision. She summoned her most loyal advisors, whispering her last wishes. The air was thick with tension, as history was about to witness her final act of defiance. As the Roman soldiers entered, Cleopatra donned her royal attire one last time. She stood tall, embodying the queen she had always been, the embodiment of an era that would not be easily forgotten. Her spirit was unyielding, ready to face whatever came next. With the Roman general Octavian present, Cleopatra made her final stand. A fierce exchange of words echoed through the grand halls of the palace, where loyalty met betrayal. In the face of impending doom, Cleopatra's intellect sparkled brighter than ever. But even in her darkest hour, she refused to surrender her dignity. Cleopatra knew that the story of her life could not end in disgrace. Her final decision would be a testament to her strength, an act of empowerment etched in the annals of time. In a moment of remarkable courage, Cleopatra chose her own fate. In the silence that followed, she drew upon the ancient traditions of her ancestors, seeking to leave this world on her own terms, preserving her legacy for eternity. And so, in her final act of defiance, Cleopatra embraced the serpent's bite, a symbol of royalty and protection. In that moment, she transcended the struggles of her life, forever entwined with the identity of Egypt. As the dust settled on Alexandria, the world outside would remember her not just as a queen, but as a powerful symbol of resistance. Cleopatra's story would reverberate through time, inspiring countless generations to challenge the status quo. Her life, filled with ambition, love, and tragedy, left a mark on history that could not be erased. Cleopatra had mastered the art of power and manipulation, and her legacy would haunt Rome long after her death. Centuries later, Cleopatra's allure continues to captivate the imagination of artists, writers, and historians. Her blend of beauty and intelligence remains a symbol of femininity intertwined with strength, a reminder that women can shape the world. As we reflect on her extraordinary life, let us not forget the lessons she imparted. Cleopatra exemplified the power of strategic thinking and emotional intelligence in a world dominated by men, challenging the limitations of her era. Cleopatra's legacy is not merely one of romance and tragedy. It is a story of resilience and defiance. Her voice may have been silenced, but the echoes of her ambition still resonate, inspiring people to challenge the tides of their own destinies.